AOC brought home a very special guy today and had him meet the whole family for brunch. Just one problem. He's kind of a communist. And his name is Zoran the Destroyer, but we'll call him Zoolander. AOC calls it love at first sight, but her house is divided.
Get to know him. Get to know him. You know, this is not about having any kind of hard line. I think that if anybody is skeptical, I would say get to know him. And once you get into a room with him, kick the tires yourself and make your own assessment instead of just kind of making assessments from what you may see on television.
The Latina from the Bronx just wants the fam to give her new work husband a chance. She knows it's a tough sell. Her last work husband pulled the fire alarm, and her family says no mas. But AOC's got a thing for bad boys. Today, she snuck Zoolander into the house while everybody was still sleeping. She had him in a little room and pulled the shades down and had people come in one at a time. First up, the crazy aunt.
All right, everyone, I am here with Zoran Mamdani, who is the leading candidate for mayor in New York City. He has so many incredible firsts, but the thing I love about Zoran is what he is doing to lift up working people.
Whatever Zoolander did to Aunt Jayapal worked. She said good guys are hard to find, but AOC is one lucky gal.
It's hard not to be won over because it's the combination of his authenticity, his smarts, and his commitment to lifting up working people and making life better for real folks that is really inspiring and not always easy to find.
Some Democrats couldn't even wait for the wedding. They were so excited that love was in the air.
You know, it's just beautiful to have someone who is so authentic. You know, money cannot buy that. And we had a great conversation.
Then AOC introduced him to Daddy. Dad's actually a bit of a socialist himself. He's been called a communist his whole life. So he has a soft spot for Zoolander. They hit it off immediately. Zoolander's the son Bernie's always wanted. Sources say Bernie recommended Moscow for the honeymoon. AOC wanted Mom to meet Zoolander too, but Pelosi wasn't around. We always knew Mom was going to be a problem. AOC's been on the phone with her all week. Mom, he's not really a communist. I swear, he's only a socialist. Pelosi's side of the family isn't really into communism. Mom's tried her whole life to keep the communists out of the house. Nancy broke her hip, and she's just not feeling up to it. Uncle Jeffries doesn't look like he's going to the wedding either.
Why are you not endorsing the guy that won the Democratic primary in a contested election in your backyard?
Well, I look forward to sitting down and talking to him. I didn't get involved in that primary election, and I don't know him well.
Hips don't lie. Hakeem's like, I don't really know the groom at all. I kind of liked her with Bowman. The whole house was a big pot of gossip. Is he really a communist? What's with the beard? I hear he hates Jews. Is that really true in New York? Aunt Kathy says, don't be panicking. If Bill and Hillary can stay together, we can get through this.
I've become the therapist in chief, it seems. So saying to everybody, we're going to be okay. Maybe it's the mom in me. I know how to calm down situations, and we'll get through this. You know, don't panic, everybody.
The house is torn, but people on the street are already voicing their objections. Zoolander was supposed to meet all the bankers yesterday, the guys who were supposed to pay for this wedding, and they bailed. Jamie Dimon was a no-show, and the only bankers who did go thought he dressed really well, but they just don't think he's good enough for their beautiful New York. And no, he's never going to change.
They heard a really charming, affable guy who was well prepared. He made jokes, he made self-deprecating jokes, but they did not hear someone who changed his policies. And so if you had concerns about his economic policies going into the meeting, you had the same concerns going out.
Zoolander doesn't show the kind of smarts and initiative that the family bankers are looking for. AOC was disappointed, but she knew this was going to be an issue. So she sat him down and said, look, my family's spending a lot of money on this wedding. The whole river to the sea thing, that's not going to fly. We can have all the government-run grocery stores we want after the wedding. But for now, just say you're applying to business school, and remember, you're Indian, not black. Got it?
There's reporting out there that he is going to no longer use the term globalize the intifada, that he's going to suggest to other people to not use it as well. Do you think, first of all, what do you think of that?
I think in a way that it will calm fears and anxieties. He's a smart man. He'll do what he needs to do.
If Zoolander can just do what he needs to do until the ceremony on Election Day, he's got it in the bag. After that, he can do whatever he wants. He can grow out his beard, defund the police, freeze rent, legalize drugs, whatever. If Zoolander wants a big, fat freak wedding, he's going to have to behave because he hasn't been saving. He's still living off his parents.
I worked until January, and then I took time away from my job. And one of the major reasons I could do so was because I knew that if I ran out of my savings, my family would be able to support me.
The groom's father is a nutty professor at Columbia, and his mother is a Bollywood filmmaker. And wait until you see his best man. That's Omar. He's running for Minneapolis mayor and wants to build a big, beautiful bridge to Somalia. He says Caucasians look like terrorists, and he hates ICE.
Protect our city from a hostile White House. Protecting all of our communities from Donald Trump means not letting MPD interact with ICE, whether it's for an immigration raid or not.
Zoolander's side of the family's freaking out. I mean, the whole side is. They never thought this is what the next generation would look like. But they're putting on a brave face.
I think the party is moving more in a socialist direction.
You know what? Is the party moving more in a socialist direction? It's a question by the media to try to stigmatize the Democratic Party. Every member of Congress runs in a district that is unique, and we all can learn from each other. We are a party that has a big tent.
They should stop worrying about their tent and start worrying about their polls. Democrats' approval rating just hit a new low. Only 19% approve. You know who's more popular than that? Biden. Democrats are going backwards, and the cream of the crop not rising to the top. AOC raised more money than anyone in the Democrat caucus. You know who was number two? Her maid of honor, Crockett. So if anyone tries to crash the wedding and break up the big, beautiful ceremony, AOC is just going to take her big, beautiful wad of cash and elope because the heart wants what the heart wants.
Welcome to Hannity, and tonight another member of the Biden White House is pleading the fifth, this time Joe Biden's chief of staff refusing to answer questions under oath about the former president's cognitive decline and the administration's illicit use of that auto pen. We'll check in with Chairman James Comer, Greg Jarrett. They will weigh in on what is now growing to be a massive scandal, the potential legal trouble that is now brewing. Also tonight, the border czar Tom Homan will be here to respond to a laughable op-ed in the New York Times. Try to contain your laughter at home, but the headline reads, "I was one of Biden's border advisors. Here's how to fix our immigration system." Wow, really? We need advice from the very people that created the most preventable national security disaster, unmitigated disaster in our country's history? Wow. And they lied about it for 4 years. Let's take their advice. All right, but we begin tonight a simple question. Is there anyone in the Democratic Party, anybody, maybe John Fetterman, but he's probably it, that is willing to stand up against the very woke, anti-Semitic, and some of them, Marxist, communist status, the ones that are now leading the Democratic Party and our country down a very dark path. Schumer, Jeffries, Pelosi, along with every so-called moderate Democrat and governor, they're all cowering in fear. They are impotent. They are paralyzed with fear. In the world's greatest city, top Democrats are now kissing the ring of a 33-year-old devout Marxist named Zoran Mamdani, or as we affectionately refer to him on this program, Marxist Mamdani. Now, Zoran does not have an impressive resume or a list of accomplishments. As a matter of fact, none. Zero. He has virtually no experience in the private sector and very minor experience in government. He's no expert, I can tell you that, on economics or logistics or the law, but he is an avid believer in communism. And in today's radical Democratic Party, extreme Democratic Party, that's pretty much all it takes. Well, communism with plenty of anti-Semitism mixed in. So today, Democratic lawmakers, they welcome Marxist Mamdani with open arms into our nation's capital. A warm welcome for him. Take a look.
I am here. Zoran Mamdani, who is the leading candidate for mayor in New York City. He has so many incredible firsts, but the thing I love about Zoran is what he is doing to lift up working people. And Zoran, what can people do to help your campaign?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to Congresswoman Jayapal for having supported this campaign, being a part of the story that brought us to this point.
Great. You got the full endorsement of a squad member. Mamdani attended a breakfast with the spiritual leaders of the Democratic Party, including members of the squad and AOC. One does have to wonder if he privately was praying for the global intifada that he has steadfastly refused to condemn. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders was gushing with socialist, radical, Marxist praise. I am deeply impressed by the grassroots campaign Mamdani is running. The oligarchs are prepared to undermine democracy and spend tens of millions of dollars to buy the election for his opponents. We will not allow that to happen. The only question is, I wonder if Grandpa Bernie lent Mamdani his private jet, the Fight the Oligarchy private jet, for today's visit. In reality, as we have reported, and the New York Post has reported, billionaire George Soros has already funneled nearly $40 million into far-left groups backing Mamdani, who now does lead in the polls. Now, don't forget, this is a guy who has literally vowed to seize the means of production, hike New York's already high taxes through the roof, burdensome regulation, cradle to grave, womb to the tomb utopia that'll never happen. And needless to say, New York's business leaders, they are deeply concerned. And I predict if he wins, there'll be a mass exit to my free state of Florida. But they have nothing to fear because the Empire State Therapist in Chief, Kathy Hochul, she's on the case. Go, Kathy. Take a look.
I've spoken to hundreds of business leaders saying, listen, nothing is going to happen to this city without me being aware of it and involved in it. So don't talk about packing up and leaving and all these other, overreactions. We're going to be okay no matter what happens. And so I've had to do I've become the therapist in chief, it seems. So saying to everybody, we're going to be okay. Maybe it's the mom in me. I know how to calm down situations and we'll get through this. Don't panic, everybody.
Don't panic, but think about it. Wall Street South is very real. Every private equity company, every investment firm, every big bank, they all have offices in South Florida. It's called Wall Street South, and it's growing by the day. And I predict Mamdani gets elected, it's going to grow by leaps and bounds. But if Mamdani's elected, no one will be there to rescue New Yorkers. Governor Hochul will not be able to help. At least no one from the Democratic Party will be able to help. They will live in constant fear of their radical base. They don't even have the courage to insist that Mamdani fully condemn the global intifada. Now, to be clear, an intifada is a holy war against Jewish people. During the first intifada, more than 100 Jews were murdered and more than 1,000 were injured. Global intifada means a global holy war. At a closed-door meeting, Mamdani, he promised that he will not use the term globalize the intifada. That's far from condemnation. Doesn't mean he doesn't support it. He's been given numerous opportunities to condemn it. He steadfastly refuses. The truth is, in today's radical Democratic Party, it does not matter so long as he supports the tenets of radical socialism, Marxism, statism. He can get away with pretty much anything, all while establishment Democrats, they cower in fear. Chuck Schumer, really, you support this? Watching their party morph into something that is truly horrible. Well, Senator Kennedy from Louisiana says it best. Everybody had a kid in their class. I had to think twice about this. Everybody had a kid in their class growing up who ate paste. Not exactly sure what he means, but the problem is that Zoran Mamdani and Representative Ocasio-Cortez both grew up to be the leaders of today's Democratic Party, and the rest of the party has no idea what to do.
The Epstein Saga has led to some startling revelations. For example, we just uncovered the only black man on Earth with no musical talent.
Epstein died by suicide. Believe that, and you must be blind. You've been telling us you released the file, but where are they? Dreamsicle on a summer night in a folding armchair.
Oh, man. That guitar is now demanding assisted suicide. Hank Johnson makes Mike Huckabee look like Eddie Van Halen. Now, Hank's a Democrat, and like many today, they're now demanding answers on Epstein. But you gotta ask, where were they when we were the only ones demanding answers over the years? Oh yeah, their guy was in power. So what did they do with all those big scandals? Well, they mock them, and not just Epstein, the Russian collusion hoax, the COVID lab leak, the Biden cover-up. Each one was a huge scandal and a huge cover-up, and the Dems treated them the way women treat Star Wars fans. You know, with zero interest. But now that Trump's in power, they see an opening exploiting the MAGA rift around Epstein. And I get it, they have no policies. Epstein is the only hope they have. Before this, all they had was supporting men who shave their nutsacks in women's locker rooms. Now, Trump just had the greatest start to a presidency in history. I haven't seen anything come out of the gate this fast since Joy Behar won the Kentucky Derby. Always works. I don't know. Yet we're supposed to focus entirely on Epstein? Sure, if a list of organized child rapists at high levels exists, that is huge. But remember, while you were caring about that, the Dems weren't. But now that it's a political issue, they do. And sure, the DOJ isn't perfect. If it were, they'd call it the Department of Sydney Sweeney. But it's miles ahead of what we had last time. The DOD isn't leaking or leaving billions of military gear behind in foreign countries. The FBI is no longer doing domestic terror investigations on parents and Catholics. And they moved pornography out of the children's library to where it really belongs, the Clinton Library. But now people whisper that Trump's vulnerable. But look, if someone flooded your basement for 4 years, you can't expect it to be bone dry overnight. And I get it, you can't just ignore this, because that's what the Dems would do. And that's not Trump. He doesn't run from chaos, he embraces it. I would say Trump is as cool as a cucumber, but why bring Ana Navarro's sex life into this? We get that there are details that we don't know about. And it could be that releasing them would put the country in danger. Or perhaps this information could be used to nail some really bad people, and once we do that, then the files can come out. Maybe it's not about protecting people, but this country. We trust Trump on everything else, and he's delivered. Why would he suddenly depart from that? Given his record, we can trust he's making the right call. And I get it. We invested a lot in this. But we were also led astray. We were told that there was a client list. But take it from Alan Dershowitz, Epstein's lawyer. He says Epstein never had one. So is he right? It's a valid point. Who keeps a list of the crimes that they commit? However, I did see a list floating around on the dark web, and sadly, most of the names were redacted because they might be innocent, but some were not. Let's take a look at the list. It's real. I don't know if it's real. The point is, if Trump's not releasing something now, it's because he knows more than we do, which is kind of how it's supposed to work. When he bombed Iran, he didn't put it out on a Google Calendar invite. Because if Trump's going to tell us, then he's also telling Iran. So this isn't a town hall. It's not even a pure democracy. It's a constitutional republic, meaning we elect Trump to make the tough calls. We don't do the job, he does. I would say that's why he gets paid the big bucks, but he's doing it for nothing. And he took a bullet for us. So he's earned our trust. And while I get the urgency about this matter, when it comes to national interest, maybe trust that Trump is doing what you hired him to do. He's got access to intel we'll never see, and right now it's too dangerous, perhaps, to give away. But until Trump tells us what's what, why help the Dems undermine all these big wins? Because before Trump, we sure weren't getting many.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.